My name's Owen, I'm the Dungeon Master of our Return of the Giants campaign.
Hello everyone, my name's Jarl. I'm playing the character of Threign, Path of the Giant Barbarian, and he is seeking to learn about his heritage of the Frost Giants.
Hi, I'm Ali, and I'm playing Lyra, the Eladrin Druid.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm playing Niles Silverwind, the monk Owlin.
Hi guys, my name's Simon. I'm playing the character of Ember. He wants to be a master of wildfire, but does he have the skills to be best one?
Hi, I'm Dave. My character is Harry Harrington the Harengon, a roguish merchant with a heart of gold.
Hello, and welcome back to the Lost Archives, everybody. My goodness, it's so good to be back with our Return of the Giants campaign, the premier giant-themed homebrew 5th edition campaign, which has very, very conveniently started so that when Big B's Glory of the Giants came out, we could absolutely start milking that for extra content. Very, very nicely worked out for us. So we are all here. We're all very excited to be jumping into the campaign. I do have a little bit of news to share tonight. For those of you who live in the Brisbane, Gold Coast or Sunny Coast region, and you're not doing much on the 14th or 15th of October, you should come on down to Eagleby to check out the Collector's Market, which is a little nerd convention that's going to be going on there. There's going to be some really cool things on display. One of my favorite manufacturers of dice towers is going to be there with a whole bunch of like hand-carved and resin dice towers. I'm going to lose a fair bit of money to that stall, 100%. So there's going to be lots of really cool things there. There is one other cool thing that's going to be on the 15th in the morning around about 10 a.m. I'm going to be playing in a live D&D show there on the main stage. So if you want to come and check that out, please feel free to. I am going to be dressed up as my character. We are all in cosplay. I am playing a tiefling divine soul sorcerer, so I will be dressed up in full costume. That was part of the requirements. I've never cosplayed before in my life, so this will be great. And it's going to be lots of fun, so make sure you come and check us out. It's going to be really fun. I'll chuck some links in the comments. It'll be the pinned comment if you want to come. It's $15 for a day pass, so it's not going to break your wallet open. And well, that bit's not. Everything inside is. The really cool shit that you're going to want to buy is going to absolutely drain your funds. But at the same time, Steam Summer Sale is also over, so you should have at least a few dollars left over from that. Hopefully,
it's a savings from Steam Summer Sale.
Exactly, yeah. Dave. Brilliant. Yeah. So yeah, make sure you come on down and check that out. It'll be at the Distillery Road Market in Eagleby. Should be lots of fun. I've never done D&D on a stage before, so I'm a wee bit nervous, but it's good practice because without giving too much away, for those of you who are in Brisbane next year, there may be an opportunity to come and see us as the Lost Archives do a live show. There's a potential there, so I'll let you know more about that when I know more about it. But midway through next year, there's a possibility we might be doing a Lost Archives live show in Brisbane. So I'll keep you posted about that. Yeah, it's been a bit of a wild ride. There's some people who some lovely people who I've been connecting with recently through the stream, and there's a whole wide community of live shows there who are really keen to get us involved and get us on board. So there'll be some cool things to do in the future. So watch this space. More fun things coming. That's the most exciting thing I have to share. The next exciting thing I have to share is Starfield's coming out pretty soon, and I'm trying not to get too hyped, but it's looking pretty good. And then I also recently saw the new trailer for the live action One Piece, and I'm trying to stay cautiously optimistic about that too, because that looks pretty good. And then Wheel of Time Season 2 comes out soon, and I'm full-blown hyped on that. Like, that hype train left the station years ago. I'm a massive Wheel of Time fan. Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson both, when Brandon took over that series, so very, very hyped for all three. So that's my nerd excitements in the near future. Any other fun things that I've missed in terms of the... What was that, Ali? I'm seriously hoping that we don't have a launch No Man's Sky situation. Oh, yeah. Look, No Man's Sky was an interesting beast. The problem with No Man's Sky was that the development, like, clearly, as we've seen now, like, the amount of love that's gone into it after launch and it's achieved everything that they originally promised. The problem was, I think when they got affiliated with PlayStation had a timeline and they had a hype machine they wanted to build for profit. No Man's Sky was a small team. Hello Games is a tiny, tiny dev studio.
I think it was like 10 people roughly when they were actually making it at its peak.
15.
I don't
So
think...
like it did grow a lot, but yeah, when they were like, that was 10 people doing this massive scale game.
Yeah.
That was
So I don't think it's going to be a No Man's Sky situation, simply because I think you need to be a small team to have a No Man's Sky situation and have another company come in and overhype you. But I do agree. It's one of those times where we hope the hype doesn't totally eclipse the actual experience.
Look, I'll be honest, I'm looking forward to all the funny Bethesda memes and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
Honestly, between games this year, like I haven't really looked that much into Starfield, to be honest. Like I've been I'm still like Baldur's Gate 3.
Of course,
I'm still like, I'm considering buying Armored Core because that came out Thursday.
Yeah.
Actually, that does look pretty cool.
Looks really good.
Core looks cool.
If you look back, it's been a really good year for games. We had Tears of the Kingdom, we had Baldur's Gate 3, obviously. It's been a really good year for games. Diablo 4.
Diablo 4, yeah. Fun Fantasy 16 as well.
Yes, Fun
really
Fantasy
good.
16.
Yep.
It's been a really
2 weeks
good...
after Starfield is Lies of P and Payday 3.
Yeah.
I have to say, the more I watch of the Lies of P gameplay, like, I don't know. I think there's something that I'm a bit suspicious of. I don't know. Maybe it's because I've been watching too much Callum Upton and now I doubt any studio that I've not heard of before.
You know what I'm really excited for as well now? I saw the trailer for Space Marine 2.
Yeah.
Warhammer 40k universe. They've used the World War Z engine to render all the Tyranids, which looks so good.
It looks really good.
If you can get the Tyranids spot on, it's going to be an awesome game.
Well, because it's the World of War World War Z engine, the Tyranids like climb on top of each other. And
it's actually I've seen that
flash ladders. Yeah,
I've seen that 10-minute gameplay, whatever it was, 20 minutes, and I'm so hyped for that because obviously being a Warhammer fan, like I literally have just bought the new Tyranid box, so I have
Can I play as the Tyranids? Like, I don't really care for Space Marines. I want to be the Tyranids. Can I play as the Tyranids?
That would be cool.
Tyranids are awesome, but no, I don't think so.
I want a multiplayer game. While you guys all Space Marine, I'll control a horde of Tyranids as like a... what are they called? The mind... the brain...
The hive mind, yeah.
Is it the hive mind?
So you got Zoanthropes, which are like... they're a collective.
The mastermind, I think I'm thinking of.
It is a hive.
Which is there's a figure in particular that like directs them. I think it's like called the mastermind or something. I could be wrong.
Oh no. There's heaps. There's heaps of different snipe. They got a snipe. I'm not gonna.
No, that's okay.
Actually. I'm gonna restrain myself. Because I can tell you all the different
Hold me back.
creatures and stuff. So I better not actually get into it.
That'll be loads of fun. Oh man, so yeah, look, it's been a great game for a great year for games. Great game for years. Great game for years. Great year for games. So
and Spider-Man 2 in October. That's another one we forgot.
Oh yeah, Insomniac. That's
huge.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting.
I think it's going to be really good. Like the whole stuff with Venom that I've seen so far looks awesome. Having Peter and Miles as like dual playable characters is just awesome. Like being able to, it looks like you can switch between them depending on how you want to approach each situation. Obviously, Miles is quite great for stealth, having his little active camouflage that he can engage. So yeah, I think it'll be really cool to be able to switch between them. And then yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited for that. That's going to be great fun.
Oh, for sure.
Give my PlayStation a workout on that. Oh my goodness. Well, look, we better jump into this session, or we could just spend all night talking about exciting pop culture things that are coming up in the near future. I remember way back at probably episode 30 of Tyranny of Dragons, Andrew, Collegia, who was playing with us at that time, had the idea of maybe we should have a episode every month where we talk about pop culture for an hour or an hour and a half. Still to this day, really good idea. I just haven't had time to sort it out.
It is a great idea.
Just haven't had time to sort that out. I will get on that. Alrighty, let me do a quick recap and we will jump straight into the session. So, previously... Oh, and the other thing we'll need to do as well, Jared, we'll need to record a new intro for you. So we'll do that as well.
We forgot that last week.
Did. So we'll do that in time for this one. Alrighty, so, previously, the Tempest Adventuring Guild, a name now legendary across the lands of Nostea, has formed a brand new team. Lyra, Niles... Where are we? Sorry. Lyra, Niles, Harry, Ember, and Threign have all arrived in the nearby settlement of Laspire on a mission to locate the hill giant fort recently seen flying overhead in the nearby area. After assisting with captured villagers in a nearby cultic camp, the group have travelled back to a small encampment, deposited the villagers, and headed into the town once more to try and disrupt the source of the constructs. Before they could enter the town, however, a shadow passed over the sun high above, a large green dragon landing in the field next to the team, atop its back a rider dressed in a long green cloak. Yervith, one of the founding members of the guild, had heard the team's call for help and had made his way over to offer assistance. With Yervith now running distraction on the constructs, the team made their way through the town and, after navigating the various environmental dangers, arrived at the mouth of the giant obsidian and electrum sphere. Passing through a small opening, the team arrived into the inside of the sphere, a confusing network of gears, springs, and moving parts, seemingly bound by an internal gravity system. Harry decided to help himself to one of the crystals powering the sphere, but after he found himself unable to grab it, decided to shoot it with an arrow. This caused the crystal to detonate, damaging the party heavily and knocking Harry down to 0 hit points, incurring minor brain injury as a result. Once the party had healed Harry enough to walk, they navigated through the now defunct section of the sphere and reached the central core. Finding themselves once again projected into the realm of the mind, the team conversed with the construct running the sphere. They learned that this construct was no longer in control, however, the emergency protocols having been activated a few days prior. After disrupting and then destroying the emergency protocols and powering down the sphere, the group took a well-earned break. One that was interrupted by the arrival of a newcomer. A Goliath of the Frost Giant clan, travelling far from the north, on a journey of his own. Threign encountered the party inside the slowly rebuilding settlement of Laspire, as the constructs that are finishing powering down are still attempting to recreate most of the village as it was before the initial deconstruction. After a few moments where it looked like things might turn potentially violent, Threign wanting to have a bit of excitement and prove his strength to the party, the group were able to show themselves as allies rather than potential threats. Shared by the bond of the giant tech implanted in each of their hands, the group decided that it was time to try and locate the hill giants. However, it seems the hill giants had come to them. Flying over the center of the town, an enormous hill fort constructed of wood and metal, built into the side of a hill, hovering 100, 200 feet in the air, settled down and crushed a nearby forest. From inside, a number of hill giant guards emerged, and as the group headed towards them to announce themselves, they were invited to meet with the Jarl of this particular clan. We left off last session as the party were escorted through the gates of this enormous fort, slowly making their way up the dirt pathway winding between the various houses and longhouses, half built on, half built into this hill itself that has been converted into a flying fortress. As you all make your way up towards the longhouse, the doors are opened for you. Inside you see an enormous banquet hall, a massive open fire pit, taking up the entire center of this longhouse, over which a huge spit slowly turns, roasting hunks of meat 3, 4, 5 times the size of yourselves. In fact, as you look over towards the far end, you see a whole cow being spit roasted on this enormous spit. At the far end of the hall, half hidden in shadow, an enormous female figure sits atop a wooden throne. You can see from this distance that her face, even though half covered by the shadows cast from the flickering torchlights above, you can see scars running down the side of her face and down onto her lower jaw and throat. Her long, dark brown hair braided down one side, but half torn away, scar tissue breaking the hairline on that right-hand side. As you stride into the hall, the warriors and hill giants lined up along the edge of this spit roast, seated at massive tables, enjoying huge mugs of mead, enormous cuts of venison. All slowly fall quiet, the raucous laughter and music beginning to die down as you enter the hallway. As you step up and get to the end of the long hall, you can see this hill giant seated on the throne before you. I believe last time there was a brief pause as you guys were sort of all watching there before, off to the side, a much older looking hill giant, long grey beard braided down across his stomach, bit of a beer gut sticking out, a bit of a dad bod, but dressed in layers of tartan and plaid, holding an enormous, what looks to be almost like a makeshift bagpipes, as he slowly moves it around onto his back and looks down at you. I think you'll find it's custom to kneel before a queen, as he looks towards all of you. And I believe that is where we left off last session.
Yeah, I just apologize and kneel.
Here he takes a knee.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
As you do so, Gunglot, Jarl, Queen of the Hill Giant clan, looks down towards you. Her face is, marked by this scar tissue. Her eyes, this almost beautiful muddy green, flecks of hazel and brown marking these otherwise bright emerald eyes, giving her this very dignified air, but quite an intense stare as her eyes turn towards you. Up close, you can see that the wooden throne she sits atop is carved with images of creatures, massive elk, stag, as well as a creature that I would say most of you don't immediately recognize. In fact, the armrests take the shape of this enormous long neck coming out of a large central shell, almost like a turtle in some ways. But the head itself is marked with these large jagged spikes and spines, almost like frills coming out from underneath and on top of the eyebrows, forming a very draconic looking head. As Gunglot leans on the edge of the throne and looks down towards you, her voice booms out, loud enough for everyone in the long hall to hear. So, what brings 5 of the small folk up before the feet of Jarl Gunglot?
Niles kind of glances around.
Yeah, this is quite an interesting thing, isn't it? You've got 3 new members. 2 of you are from the old group that was sent.
I sort of look at Lyra and say, kind of shrug, and I say, "Should we tell her? I guess there's no harm." I look back up. Your Majesty, Lady, Jarl Gunlock. My name is Niles Silverwind of the Tempest Guild. We have come to your lands to introduce ourselves and to discuss the giants' re-emergence in these lands and how they may be interacting with some of the smaller folk. In case in point, the city of Laspire, the one that you flew over a few days ago. We're hoping just to discuss that a little bit, if you didn't mind.
Indeed. You have a pretty warble, birdie. You talk well. It is interesting. I was expecting indignation, expecting arrogance from the small folk. After all, the last messenger we sent out was told that these were no longer giant lands, that we had given up our ancestral home when we vanished. We did not vanish. We were banished. And this is not how we accept.
Of course. I believe there perhaps has been a misunderstanding, a miscommunication, if you will. I don't know who it was that told you that these weren't giant lands. I just believe that the lands here are a little bit different to perhaps what you may be used to, or maybe what you had been accustomed to before you were wrongfully banished, might I add. I think now we come here to speak perhaps about a way of coexistence, perhaps, and what that might look like moving forward.
You sing a pretty song, birdie, but we know that you have already deactivated the sphere.
was more so just as a means of perhaps just the sphere had already caused some issues for some of the townsfolk. Many have been displaced and have had to flee their lands. Not unlike yourselves, obviously. Many dead as well, I should add. Yes, thank you, Lyra. We just thought it'd be best to take a pause on the sphere for now, seek your counsel, and then perhaps discuss things moving forward. We just wish that we would protect the lives of the small folk, if you will, so that we could perhaps seek audience with you.
Interesting. So you say that you came to seek counsel, yet you have acted against our interests without any qualms, any pauses, any chances for communication. Is this how you seek counsel? And she glares down towards the five of you. Behind you, you hear the sound of chairs slowly being pushed back as a number of the warriors begin to stand, hands reaching for axes and hammers on belts.
I guess like the thing I'm trying to figure out here, this is where the party now is a bit in a weird spot because we have many different sort of like avenues now. Like so you two are very much Tempest. For me, Owen, how would my character, now that you've sort of known a bit more about the backstory and stuff, how would he be reacting to the hill giants? I imagine I'd be in reverence.
A little bit, not as much as if they were Frost, obviously, but still.
100%.
I mean, so far, Threign. I mean, it sounds like the hill giants are the ones who have been kind of, I would say, hard done by or poorly represented. I mean, you know that this was giant lands. The Goliaths never ever spread from their original enclaves. There's been no new Goliath enclaves created. Steading since the time before the ruin, like because that is giant land, and the Goliaths and Firbolgs have respected that from the time of the ruin and before.
I'm going to be on the giant side.
So to be honest, Threign's probably at this point slightly more on the giant side. The only thing I will add, Threign, do you want to make me an insight check?
All right, let's do that.
Because there are some similarities.
Insight.
Yeah, there are some similarities between.
I rolled it too.
6.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, this Threign, this Jarl seems cross. You would know that as the Jarl of this clan, she is not to be trifled with as the chieftain of this particular group of hill giants. And from what you understand, from what was said outside, there's a bit of a civil war going on amongst the hill giants. She used to command all of the forts. Now she commands one. I mean, this is not a person whose authority should be questioned at this point. This is someone who potentially is dangerous.
And I guess the one last thing, with Threign being here, obviously I don't have the mission that Niles has, and I have the whole sort of being sent out from the village and the stone. The stone, would I just show that to them without any... I wouldn't be hiding that, would I?
You've been told that you need to seek the giants and their understanding and insight to understand what this is and what it means and how to harness its gifts. I mean, as far as you've been told, this is a gift from the giants. There'd be no reticence showing this to the giants at all in Threign's mind.
Perfect. Cool. That's good. I've got some context now how to delve into this
Threign,
situation.
I would say though that Threign would know that it is probably not a great idea to speak without first being addressed in the Hall of the Jarl. At least for the Goliaths, you would know that when a matriarch is in conversation, you answer questions, you don't ask them at this point. Perfect. There will be a time, you know that if courtesy is to be observed and the courtesy of the giants is to be observed, you will be offered a chance to ask questions at the end, but during this period, you are answering her requests, not the other way around.
Perfect.
Niles does not seem to have got that hint, though. Is what Threign is realizing. But only Threign knows this because this is.
Well, you know what though?
Mostly answered. Yeah.
Niles is probably playing into a different set of skills. Not that he's a very charismatic character, but he does have. I did take the courtier background.
Yes.
So he kind of knows.
Yeah.
He gets the gist of things. I wouldn't say that he's completely cognizant to perhaps some of the things that are going on at this moment. So he's still sussing it out. Probably not to the same level as Threign.
I will add Ember knows what Threign knows. So Simon, Ember would know the same level of things that Threign knows because, again, the Firbolgs are from a very, like, you share an ancestry with the giants as well. I mean, many of the features of culture are quite similar, if not exactly the same. So for Ember as well, this is quite similar to how things are done in the enclaves.
Perfect.
I glance around the room. I try to get like a bit of a feel on what's going down. I can tell the tensions are rising, and Niles is kind of like.
Do you want to make a perception or an insight
like,
check?
Oh yes, roll a dice. But for Niles, at least, if you look at Threign, you've only just met him. To see the force of nature he sort of was when he rolled in. To see him sort of like more restrained would also probably be telling.
That would be interesting to me, actually.
Yeah. Perception 17. Threign is much more reserved than he was even 5 minutes ago. Interestingly, Niles, as you look around the room, at first glance you thought these were soldiers or warriors getting ready to do combat, but you catch a few of them with sly smiles on their faces, and their hands, while reaching for weapons, aren't pulling them free. It looks like there's some sort of performance going on here, something you're not really sure of what's happening, but you do catch at the back of the hallway two of the younger hill giants, two of the younger, probably if they were humans in their like maybe like late teens, early 20s, having a bit of a laugh and nudging one another, pointing at all of you standing before the Jarl. That there's something else going on here.
Right. All right. I put on a little bit more of a fearful look, sort of play into this feigned sort of tension, perhaps, that I'm picking up on, and I sort of say, we did not expect to find the machines in Lespire. We were simply sent to Lespire to make contact with your kind and to discuss things. We weren't aware that you were anywhere nearby. This was all new information to us. In fact, it was only recently that we came to the conclusion that the hill giants and the machines were connected. We thought it was some other machination at play. So I apologize for perhaps interfering with your operations here, but we only did what we thought was best for the people of Lespire. Now that we know that you were involved, it changes things.
Do you think the hill giants stupid, Bird?
Of course not.
Do you think us gluttonous savages? Oh, where are my manners? We have not offered you any food.
Oh no.
Well, I think it is a failing of us to have not offered you food and succor now that you have arrived in our halls. Please, prepare our new dishes. Guests, prepare our new guests. They must be hungry after their journey, no? I know I am, as she looks down at all 5 of you.
I bow lower to the ground. It's subservience.
While you're doing that, does anyone else? I want to know what everyone else is thinking at this point.
Yeah.
Lyra?
Yeah, I was just thinking, it's like, are we about to be the dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah. Harry, what are you doing at this point?
He's making himself even smaller. He's just trembling. He's a tiny little rabbit man.
Ember?
That's fair.
I feel like I'd be kind of impressed, actually, because you're in a big hallway with, like ancient relatives kind of thing. And
yeah.
At this stage, I mean, like, yes, she is being very, strong, but I don't know whether I'd be actually fearing, maybe cautious, but not necessarily scared. I've left my town for adventure, so this is the
adventure. Alrighty, perfect. Yeah. So, and Threign, what are you thinking or feeling at this point?
So I've been obviously reverent, but to be honest, Threign keeps glancing at the food on the tables, and with her talking about food, he's actually getting a bit hungry.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So it sounds like the non-giants are a bit scared. The 2 giant kin are a bit. They're not as worried.
I think Niles is kind of like, he knows there's something else going on.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to let it, like, he doesn't want to like make it, like, he doesn't want to give it away. He's kind of playing into the fear a little bit, just to sort of play along with it. But he is aware of it. He just doesn't want to like.
He probably is scared too, though.
Deep down, he's probably scared because he's never seen giants before. This is all new to him. But he can see them laughing. It doesn't necessarily mean he's safe. They're just laughing. Like, they could still
embed an axe into his face at any point. So he's
So
still
true.
scared, but yeah,
You
Harry
hear
is
oh, yeah,
genuinely
terrified.
genuinely
really terrified.
in his deepest gut terrified.
Okay.
Damn.
You hear a giant from behind you, a large warrior. Shoulders incredibly broad, barrel chest. He pushes through the crowd and looks down at all of you. As you sort of slowly turn around and look up, he looks down and goes, "I'd have to pick those feathers out of my teeth." You hear,
I'd actually do. I'd probably let a little chuckle out there too, to be honest.
You hear a little from the front, and as you turn around, the older Skald, the older hill giant man, you watch as he's like, covers his mouth.
Oh, okay.
The Jarl turns and looks towards and goes, "Really? That is what broke you? Aye, aye, aye." And from that point onwards, you hear the sound of laughter. And as you turn around, the rest of the warriors are slapping each other on the back, laughing. One of them walks forward with a tiny, cut of meat. And he's like, I was gonna put this up my nose and then pull it out to put... Oh, you too soon, come on! As he calls out from the back of the hall. The Jarl sort of laughs a bit and goes, "We had a bit of fun with you. Apologies. Jarl Gunglot. We know the reputation our kind have amongst the small folk. You will excuse us our merriment. We saw an opportunity to have a bit of fun with you. We care not for technology of the storm or the cloud giants. We generally stick to things that we can use and easily understand. The sphere is not of our making. It was offered to us. We decided not to use it very, very long ago and buried it with a cache of other items that were traded and forced upon us, all in the name of progress. Its activation was an accident. We were here to disable it. You have saved us a bit of a job, so thank you."
There's a relief washes over Niles as he hears this. A pleasure.
However, you have not fully deactivated it, have you? We don't understand much of how its functions work, but our latest readings from our giant forged said some mumbo jumbo about powering down and some sort of consciousness, but it sounds like you are using it to rebuild the town of Laspire, no?
Is it for a favor?
Yeah.
This town, Laspire, it is built on top of an old vault. Many things were kept there. Items that we used to use, items that we have never used, items that we no longer have any use for. We may at some point need to access it again, but if this is what is going to happen every time we come close, we're going to need to figure something else out, no?
That is a good point. Maybe we should have asked the sphere if he could add a little vault door on the side of the old town there. Maybe it would have been a bit more convenient, perhaps. That is an oversight. Maybe we could talk to the villagers.
That is okay. We know that it will take some days to rebuild. We are going to send some of our builders and architects out to go and try and make some sort of tunnel in from the nearby hillside. We will figure something out.
Oh,
But
excellent.
we need to know, are the small folk going to try and attack us again like they did last time?
Oh, I mean, I hope not. We can
Especially
go
if we
tell them.
pre-warn them.
Yeah, we should tell them. We should, not to mess up. This was the whole point of our excursion here. We were hoping to, smooth things over, talk things out, and then relay this information back to the villagers. Let them know that it's all good and not to be fearful.
Well, not
We're
of
aggressive.
us, at least.
Are there any others that they should be fearful of?
She shares a very pointed look with the Skald, who sort of coughs a little bit under his breath. We are not the only tribe of hill giants. There's a pause, an incredibly awkward one. You hear the sound of shuffling feet behind you as the warriors begin to slowly make their way back to the table, not wanting to be part of this conversation. Gunglot just sighs and looks down. In the past, we were ruled by strength of the body. When I took power after the death of my cousin, I introduced a new type of strength that we might benefit from. Strength of the mind, strength of will, wisdom. But it seems 2 of my brothers have not quite got the hint. They are fracturing our people into splinters, believing that they should be the ones to rule. And I was unable to stop them physically. My time as Jarl of the Hill Giants is drawing to a close at this point. And after all the hard work I put in to make us better, make us stronger.
What do you pardon my intrusion, Gunlock, but what do you mean it's coming to an end? Are your brothers planning some sort of uprising, usurpation?
Yes, they will build up their armies and strength, and then they will fight each other, or they will fight me and then fight each other, or they will team up, fight me, and then fight each other. Till only one of them rules. That is how things go in Hill Giant society, how they went before all of my hard work.
Oh. It sounds to me, though, that you might be able to use some of that wisdom that you've been building up. I mean, if you can convince them to fight each other first, their forces would be significantly weakened. And, I mean, there are a lot of you here. I mean, surely they, at least one of their armies would be less than the number of people you have here. Plus the Sky Castle and the defenses.
She looks over the crowd of warriors before you. Aye, these Drengir are strong, both in mind and in body. But this is not a large force. If you think this is the mustered might of the Hill Giants, you are in for a shock when you see Gundabad's army.
Adding that one to my notes.
Yes, I think we are in for troubled times. And while I admit my care for the small folk is small, I would hate to see you get squashed in between 2 conflicts of an eternal nature of Hill Giants. Particularly because, it will put Sinmare's nose out of whack.
That would indeed. I was going to mention that the collateral damage from such a conflict would be, well, the small folk would most certainly be caught up in it, and, well, if there's any way of preventing such a conflict from occurring, I'm sure that would be in the best interests of the small folk.
Yes. There is one thing that we had been considering. There are a number of pathways I am currently exploring. But, seeing as you have proved yourself so adequate, shutting down the sphere and overcoming the defenses there, I think there is another task we can do for you. Tell me though, the one who rode on Dragonback, are they still around? I would very much like to meet them.
Oh, unfortunately, our friend there had a business in Oxenfurt, I believe. Took some of our companions back to the city.
Well, another time perhaps then, hey?
I could perhaps pass on a message, perhaps? There's a likely chance that we will run into him again.
No, if there is important work he is doing, I would not want to interrupt. If he happens to fly this way again, I will make sure we signal him properly.
No problem. Noted.
I quite like the dragons. I had a companion when I grew up, a noble green dragon from Chiari. I was sad to hear of his passing in our absence.
That is rather sad.
Well, if you are amenable to helping yourselves as well as helping me a little bit, I could send you to go and speak to someone on our behalf. Someone who has little time for us now. An ancient treaty broken long before my time as Jarl. But I doubt very much that any of the small folk would have spoken to this creature. And while she does not abide how do I put it? Lack of intelligence, lack of wisdom. I'm sure that you have proven yourselves already. I'm sure you will be able to talk to her and convince her that the hill giants can be trusted now, or at least I can be trusted now, more than my father could.
Is she around here?
Yes, she is close by. Yeah.
I'm gonna quickly jut in real quick. No one has
yeah.
insight checked anything with she said. We're
That's a
taking
good
it
point.
at her words.
I love when you guys do that.
Threign isn't a very big thinker, obviously, is by being a barbarian, but I just want to quickly, I'm gonna quickly just get some I'll do an insight check, I guess, if that's all right, just to get some just see
absolutely.
how her words are sort of
good point.
resonating with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
13's a little bit better. Not
13.
crash, but-
This isn't really what you were 100% expecting from the Hill Giants. I mean, there are 2 other clans, obviously, but I mean, Gunglot seems reasonable, calm, controlled, and more importantly, calculated. There's an air of, I would say, planning going on behind her eyes. This is clearly someone who has chess pieces on the board and in play, and has just seen a new bishop sort of come in from the left and is looking at all of you, wondering how she can best use you.
Is that? I mean, not that Niles would really know this.
Yeah.
But is that unusual for the Hill Giants?
The stories of Hill Giants that all of you would know,
Yeah.
minus Ember, obviously, because Ember and Threign have a slightly different understanding of Hill Giants.
Yeah.
But the stories of Hill Giants paint them as these gluttonous, essentially kind of mindless monsters that would, just consume, that were brutal and stupid, dim-witted, monstrous, gluttonous creatures. I mean, that's not what you're seeing here with Gunglot at all, really. I mean, as you look at the rest of the warriors in the hall with her, these are clearly incredibly strong warriors. I mean, as you look at them, you can see that they are, I would say in terms of weight, they're definitely overweight based on a human's body shape, but it's not just fat, this is muscle as well mixed in, and so they're incredibly powerful. They're built almost like is it the gridiron players, the American gridiron players have really
What are you talking about?
broad shoulders, stocky bodies, because it's about mass more than muscle.
Yeah, they're the guys at the front.
Yes,
they're
the ones at the
walkers and
front.
stuff, and
I'm going for a terrible analogy because I don't know much about sports ball at the best of times, let alone American sports ball. There's a ball and you sport it. But yeah, it's these are warriors who fight using mass, not just muscle. It's about size. The armor that they're wearing looks fairly well made. It's mostly leathers with some metal studs pushed in as well. You can see there's some obsidian blades, but for the most part, most of the things that they're using look somewhat primitive compared to the giant tech you've seen so far. I mean, it's all log fires, oil lanterns and chandeliers hanging from the ceilings. These look like probably how the giants were traditionally, long ago before technology and the giant magic was really embraced. The hill giants kind of look like, they're almost like the Amish of the giants, right? The way they kind of work. The hill fort being a massive exception to that, the fact that it flies. But I mean, hey, if you get that much of a military advantage, you're going to take it. So
That's right.
yeah, it's that would be your impression. But again, you would have grown up with stories of these monstrous gluttonous beings who were in small groups, would raid farms. But then again, now that you're kind of thinking of that, especially Niles, as you think upon this, this is the stories that the elves and dwarves would tell. And all of you now know it's kind of the worst kept secret in Nostea right now, following the events of the Tyranny of Dragons campaign, that something happened that banished the giants from Nostea, and you know now, it is well known that the elves, dwarves, and dragons were involved in that, and they're gods to some extent. It's not, I would say that the exact specifics of that are not fully understood yet, but I mean, there was an agreement made that elves, dwarves, and dragons could stay on Nostea for 100 years. And when that time was up, the giants disappeared instead. Something happened. Some deal was broken. And so, yeah, I'd say that's sort of what all of you would know. For Ember and for Threign, I mean, this is more or less what you kind of expected from the hill giants. You know that there will be more stupid hill giants. There will be ones who are more obsessed with food. I mean, all hill giants love their food. It's a well-known fact that they're all gourmands when it comes to food. Quantity over quality for the most part, but they do love their food. They love their wine. They are raucous. They can be crude, but they are still warriors. They are still they follow codes of honor, same as all the giants do. I mean, it's not an uncivilized people. It's just a more traditional civilization. That's what you would know.
Okay. All right. I mean, as this conversation is unfolding, Niles is like, he's gone from fear to relief to like almost now like a curiosity as he's sort of kind of becoming a little bit more comfortable in this situation, sort of realizing that there's actually a lot of logic behind what she's saying. And it's something that like Niles kind of understands, having spent a lot of time in courts himself. He starts to become a little bit more comfortable, I think, in this situation. Yeah.
Okay.
So Threign, I think you were. Did you want to say something, or was that?
Yeah.
More just
So
together?
I had the insight. I was just trying to. So Niles, have you got anything else you sort of want to throw out there?
No. I think Niles would probably at this point just say, because we're talking about this thing, right? This. He probably just goes down that train of thought and goes, so this her. You refer to her as a she. What is this being you speak of? What significance does this being have?
Creature, a very old creature. I'm not sure what the translation would be in your tongue. Tortoise, turtle, tortoise, shell, 4 legs, long neck.
A tortoise?
Yeah, tortoise. Am I saying that right? Tortoise. You will have to forgive
turtle,
me.
Perhaps?
Turtle. What is the difference?
The ocean.
Well, yes.
One
What's
is in
Lyra
water,
said?
one is on land?
Yes.
Well, Mola lives in a bog, so maybe both. Maybe she is tortoise.
Oh. Well, I'd very much like to see that. Interesting. And you would have us go to speak to her to talk about the treaty? What is it that you wish for us to do with this?
Convince her to talk to me. She and my father, and my father's father, my father's father before him, had an agreement. She is a very powerful creature, very large. She was able to help us when we were gathering resources from the depths. She goes in water, can go quite deep. Deeper than we can on our own. And we find ourselves in need of a certain substance found deep under the earth. It is a black liquid that is very flammable. We can use it for some of our machines. She was quite good at finding reserves deep on the ocean floor.
Oh, of course. A very valuable asset to have. I guess we can see what we can do. Perhaps we can convince her to join your ranks again. Allies are a very important thing to have in these times. We would see that rekindled.
There is one other thing. As she looks over at the Skald, who sort of clears his throat uncomfortably, trying to get her attention, and then nods towards you guys. There is one other thing. Thank you, Skald. You forget your place. My father was unhappy when Mola refused to help us anymore, and he placed a curse upon the lands which she resides in. Hence why she is not very happy with us at the moment. You will need to break the curse. The problem is that we cannot. My father... Well, how would you describe him, Skald? as she looks over towards the skull. The skull looks incredibly uncomfortable, this older hill giant. He goes, right, bastard. Right, bastard sums it up quite nicely, yes.
Oh, that's family troubles. That is unfortunate. I guess we all have them, though, to some extent. Some far greater than others. This curse, what does it entail? What would make him so mad that he would curse the land? That seems a rather bit dramatic. Don't you think?
There was a war going on at the time, and my father tried to trick her into joining in as a combatant. She was not very happy after she slaughtered both regiments, the one sent to guide her to the enemy and the enemy. She broke off all contact. My father, furious, placed a curse upon the land around her that keeps her bound there, keeps her stuck. The curse makes it... It creates a type of creature, what would be the translation, Skald? A gunsket. He sort of like rolls it over his tongue. I believe it would be a barrowghast. Yeah? Does those words make sense? Barrowghast? As he looks over all of you.
I don't think Niles has ever heard of a barrowghast before.
Maybe,
can I roll a history check?
Sure, yeah. You can roll a history or an insight check. It's going to be a very hard thing.
Are they saying barrel?
Barrowghast. Barrowghast. 11. Niles. That'd be... Is it +5 for your history? Because you rolled an insight.
Oh, I rolled an insight. I thought you said history or insight.
History. Oh, yeah. Maybe I did say history or insight. I'd say it's more a history than an insight. Sorry.
Let me roll it again.
No. Sorry. Don't. You can just add whatever it is for it. No,
add it for... So it's a 5 anyway.
It's a 5, yeah. Don't worry about the natural one, because you already rolled for the insight. So yeah, it's a -1 to your insight, which means it's a 6 minus 1 is 5. So 5. Niles, you've got no idea what this thing is. The words are common. Barrow. You know the word. You know what the word barrow means. You know what the word ghast means. You've heard of undead creatures known as ghasts. Barrows are old graves where people are often buried. Kings or warriors of high renown are buried in barrows down in the south of Oshia. More on the Shattered Isles than Oshia itself, where the Leonin are. The Leonin often bury their honoured dead in barrows to honour them.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, so Niles knows nothing about what they are, but kind of puts the 2 and 2 together and goes, oh, it could be something like that.
The Jarl, kind of seeing your confusion, goes, maybe it is not the word that you know. Nothing to worry about, I am sure, but... The creature is immune to creatures of its size or larger. It was my father's ultimate insurance to ensure that Mola could not break free. But he did not count on small folk, having passed away 80 years prior to the arrival of the elves through the Sinmare's gate. Which means that you should be able to break the curse, no? Small enough to inflict damage, get under its legs, and destroy it. That will hopefully help make Mola a bit more amenable to your requests, and then you can ask her to meet with me along the coastline.
Does Mola speak the language?
Mola speaks... yes, that might be a problem. Do we have a spare translation matrix for them? The Skald sort of looks a bit disgusted. We carry none of that profane technology, but I can play a song which will allow them to speak with her, at least for the next 24 hours. That and the other animal that they come across. There you go. That would be agreeable, no?
As long as it takes us less than 24 hours to get to wherever Mola is.
Yes.
We will take you in one of our long ships. We will take you over and drop you off there. We cannot get too close, but we can drop you maybe an hour's walk away from the edge of the swamplands.
Oh, perfect. Sounds good.
Is there anything we need to know about fighting these barrowghasts? Like any weaknesses or anything that they're unweak to?
Light. What would be the translation? Radiant. Radiant.
Radiant. Very good.
It is a creature called back from death. You have them still, no? Creatures from...
Unfortunately.
There's a type of
Unfortunately.
magic. The elves spoke of it when they came.
Necromancy?
Yes, talk with deads, yes. But it's more than that. It is to raise dead, to command dead, yes. Like that, it is a type of necromancy. Yes, it is a dark rune that is placed upon the land. It is called a nithing in our tongue. A curse.
Good
And
to know.
so specifically, are we getting rid of the rune or are we fighting the Barrowgast?
You will have to fight the
Of course.
Barrowgast. The nithing will have faded long ago, leaving just the monster behind. But if you can destroy the monster, the rune will burn, whatever is left of it.
Very good.
It is not the only form a nithing can take, but it is one of our more extreme ones. As the Skald so eloquently put, my father was a right bastard.
Indeed. That sounds agreeable. At this point, Niles looks up at Threign, like very interested to see what Threign is doing, and kind of like Niles kind of looks and goes, Threign, did you have any questions you wish to ask?
His eyes are just plastered on a massive hunk of meat.
Threign, as this conversation's been going on and you've been eyeing off the meat, one of the warriors, probably... I did mention this before, but I'll say it again. Most of the hill giants in this room look no older than 40 in human terms. The Skald, who looks like he's in his 70s, is the oldest giant in this room, clearly, by a large margin. Threign, you would know that, and I would say probably Ember too, you would both know that often in the tales of giant society, especially hill giant society, life was pretty brutal, and warriors to die of old age is a shameful thing for warriors. Drengir in this tongue, it's a shameful thing to die of old age. It is it's a drain on resources to be old and infirm. It is far better to die in battle as a hero.
But no, as Niles sort of picks me up, I go, oh, yes, what do you want? Sorry, I was a bit preoccupied.
One of the giants behind you, Threign, one who looks like he's in maybe 40s, nudges his companion, sort of noticing you. He raises his helmet, this curved, antlered metal helm, places it down, reaches over and tears off the leg of this spit-roasting cow, and then holds it out towards you to grab like a handful of meat from it.
Okay. Now, context again. Is that a good move or a bad move?
You've been offered food as a guest in a home. It would be rude to not accept.
Okay, perfect.
It would be an insult to not accept. If you were offered food or drink in the home of a giant of any sort, it is dishonorable to not accept.
Oh, well, thank you very much. You don't have to tell me twice. And I take the hunk of meat and start just tearing into it.
Yes, yeah. The more gusto you show eating food that is provided for you, like that is a show of
gusto.
appreciation to the hosts. It is very much an honourable thing to do to
16
to show
for eating
enthusiasm. Yeah, I mean, Threign, as you just dig into this haunch of roasted cow, there's an appreciative nod from one of the warriors as he sort of like leans down a little bit, arm on the table, sort of getting down a little bit closer to you, so his enormous face is only sort of like 10 feet above you. Noble warrior, you are one of our little kin, no? Goliath, I believe you call yourselves.
Well, that's what... puts it, like, lets him sort of actually, like... Yes, I hail from Olmia. I'm from noble stock. My ancestors can trace their line back to Jarl Ulflik.
You watch as the two hill giants who are kind of paying attention to you, these two warriors, sort of pause a little bit, look at each other, look back and go, really? You can trace your line all the way back to Jarl Ulfrik?
That I can. It's half the reason why I'm out here. I've been waiting my time. I didn't want to... I didn't want to impose, but I have questions. How are the Frost Giants doing? We haven't seen our Big Brother clan for so long. Like,
they are having
been
troubles similar
years.
to our own. They're not the same, not an uprising of Gustav. He spits. You get the sense this is probably an insult that he's just used.
Yeah.
But they are having troubles of their own. Problems far to the north. It seems that their ancient halls have been invaded by monsters. To do noble battle with creatures of ice and snow.
What monsters do you speak of? Do you know?
Don't say much. We have not spoken to them since we came through the rift. The large hole that was created in sky. It's a shame
You
you're
see,
not from Hill Giant stock. You could be. You eat like one. As they nudge each other.
When you were talking about how they are, I was like, did I make the wrong giant?
Possibly.
This. You see sort of like a smile across his face. No, so you'll say giant monsters, eh? That's... Well, once I'm
Huge
done
beasts,
down here,
vicious.
I look at... We all need to go up north, guys. That sounds amazing. Don't you all want to
When
fight
these
big
troubles are
monsters?
dealt with, when the traitors have been put to rest.
So I guess like I'm talking to the giants, but I also
Yeah.
looked at the party too. So like my excitement at fighting these massive monsters.
I look at Threign and then I look at like Jarl Gonglot and I'm like, I think we may have to deal with this little issue with Jarl Gunlot first.
Sorry, my enthusiasm gets the best of me. I apologize. Gunlock. I can't say it properly. Apologies.
Gunlot.
I can't. Yeah.
That's fine.
I'll try
I
my
am
best.
throwing in like actual Swedish, Norwegian, and Icelandic words and names for this. So I apologize for any Nords, Swedes, or Icelandics for the terrible pronunciations. I am
Yeah, I don't
doing
even
to
know what my
butcher your
accent at the
language.
moment is. It's sort of probably in the same vein, but so I apologize too if it's not on. I do.
Yeah. At this mention of the monsters invading the ancestral homes of the frost giants
Yeah.
in the north, does that strike me? Does that ring any bells? Like, I'm imagining the north isn't like heavily inhabited in Nostea.
Oh, it's
but,
not
like,
at all. The north is deserted.
Oh, okay.
The far north is,
Oh,
the closest settlement to the north isn't a permanent one. The city of Drifthaven is probably the closest to the north, and it follows the currents. It's one of the floating cities that the Maloran orcs live on, that the Tempest Guild actually visited not too
correct,
long
yeah.
ago.
Also,
Yeah.
I took orc as well and dwarf as well.
Yes.
Because I know
So
you
it's
also said there's
probably-
something to do with dwarf.
Probably one of the furthest, and the currents that it drifts on take it probably further north, and even then, the vast tundra that covers the pole is mostly uninhabited. As far as Niles would know.
Oh. Niles is starting to make. He's coming to a conclusion in his mind. He's putting two and two together because he's remembering potentially untrue words, but the archivist back when we were in the house feud or whatever he mentioned that there was something in the north as
Yes, he did.
well.
Yeah, he said there was a
Ooh.
a large device there, which
Yeah.
connected to many other devices.
Okay. Yeah. Niles doesn't say this, but he kind of just nods and sort of nods to himself and kind of takes us on. Cool.
Yeah, like, sorry for talking out of turn. I do have one question. I show her my hand. I have been sent from my tribe, my clan, stronghold, to discover sort of the purpose of this here stone that is embedded in my palm, my hand. Do you have any insight into this?
Is anyone else holding up their hands? Looks like Niles is holding up his hand at the same time. Is anyone else holding
Yeah.
up their hand to show it off? I just need to know for her reaction.
Maybe just like
Ember's
really tentatively, like.
Niles kind of like turns around and goes, oh yeah, I forgot. And sort
Okay.
of puts his hand up.
And Harry's still a tiny rabbit hiding behind the rest of the party.
Yep.
Cool.
So,
Yeah, Ember no, but Lyra and Niles sort of. Threign
Like she hasn't been
100%.
hiding it, and like
Yeah.
probably at the mention she'd like.
Threign
I don't think
doesn't really have much caution in stealth.
No, and Niles is feeling pretty confident, so he
Yeah.
actually shows it. Yeah.
Gunglot leans in looking closer. You can see up close the flecks of hazel in her eyes almost reflect a little bit of gold as she stares across and looks at each of your hands, those of you who are showing. That is very strange. It looks like giant technology, but I have not heard of any devices to be jabbed through into the flesh. That seems very interesting. Where did you pick these up, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I myself received it from my clan. I don't know much about these here. I've said my piece. That's probably I just sort of trail off as I'm eating the hunk of meat.
Niles just says, well, we were in the city of Lespire, like we mentioned, and we came across a device there. Perhaps it was in and amongst that vault you mentioned. I believe it might have been excavated, and unwillingly we seem to have activated it, and it seems to have embedded itself in our hands. Or in my
Wait,
hands.
you guys have activated these? I don't think Threign has.
No. No, Threign hasn't yet.
Not intentionally, Threign. We simply touched it, and then it
what did you do?
went-
What? This is momentous. This is very. I knew there was a reason I came here. Perfect. You must tell me.
I
Of
look
course,
at
trouble
Lyra,
got put in timeout.
I know.
Yeah.
I can do that. I'm very good at causing trouble, and
No, they don't want you to do that. That's why we got put in timeout.
I just touched. We just touched the device. That's how it ended up. In
I
our
start
hands.
touching it. I start touching it.
Yeah, you
No,
poke
it
it,
was-
it's cold.
It's
It was like a
In order
rod
to-
when we saw it the first time.
Wait, hang on. It did not. What you said it was a rod about yay big, and you watch as Jarl Gunglot holds her hands out to demonstrate a rod roughly about probably a meter long, very small, black and covered in electrum, strange runes.
Giant hole in the ceiling.
That's
I
not
do
right.
remember.
Yes.
I do remember seeing this when I first took over as Jarl. I was shown the vault, and there was something locked in glass that looked like this. What was it for? She looks over towards the skull, who sort of shrugs. I'm sorry, Gunglot. I was never allowed inside the vault. It was not my place.
When you all discovered it, that you were able to access it, what happened?
We went into a dream, but sorry, just before we get too far into that topic, Lyra just sort of had a bit of an idea, and it's like, if in order for the excavation to have managed to get a hold of the thing, by the way, it's like a dream thing, you reenact things from
Dreams,
like the past.
dreams are things of storm giants. They believe in the power of dreams and portents.
What about a memory then?
What do you mean? What, like it stores memory, like a mind?
Well, imagine this. Imagine a memory in your mind that you were able to go back to and replay in real time.
She sort of looks a bit confused, looks over to the skull, who shrugs. I can
Frank's
imagine what
also
you are
probably
describing,
confused.
but it is not something that we use. I'm sure it is something. It sounds like something of the storm giants to me. That kind of
Perhaps
their obsession with examining the past, the present, to learn the future. Sounds
It
like their
does
sort of
seem
thing.
Yes, it does seem to be a little bit more aligned with the stone giants, but
Storm
I suppose.
giants, sorry.
Oh, the storm giants.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It does seem to be something more aligned with the storm giants. Yes. Yes, it is a little bit of a hard concept to describe. We ourselves are not quite sure exactly what this is. I suppose the easiest way I can say is, imagine being able to go back and revisit a memory, and perhaps choosing to do something differently. That
Wait.
seems.
To see,
Did you
to
all
s-
say? Are you?
No.
I apologize.
She
Jarl, you speak.
pauses. She pauses and lets you speak. No, she doesn't.
So the way you are speaking, did you experience yourself a memory of some sort?
Yeah, that's why we got put in timeout.
It wasn't. The thing is, though, Threign, it was a memory. it was definitely a memory, but it wasn't ours. It was a giant's.
I think he would have like a smile across his face as he sort of, you accessed a giant's memory. You were for a time a giant per se.
Yes.
Ooh, that does sound fun, doesn't it? Maybe I can't wait to try this. This sounds fun, a new challenge. To relive is one of them that is quite, well, momentous.
Jarl
I
Gunglot.
apologize.
Oh, sorry, no, you go.
I was just gonna say, Jarl, I'm just a little bit concerned. When this artifact was excavated, you said it was in the vault itself behind glass.
Yes.
Was
That
there
is-
anything else in that vault that would be particularly dangerous, world-ending, bad to be in
I
the
don't
wrong
know
people's
about
hands?
world-ending, but there would have been many things powerful and dangerous there. Any time we were given technology, any time we traded for things that we did not want or did not use, we would just put them in the vault. So there were lots of things that were kept there. That sphere was an attempt by the cloud giants to trick us into assembling castles for them. They thought they were so clever. But we saw through their plan. We chose never to activate it, putting it in the vault instead. There were many things like this. When you see a group of giants as stupid and easily manipulated, and to be fair, there have been periods of time where our Jarls have been stupid and easily manipulated. My cousin, for one. There's a history there of the other giant clans looking down on the hill giants, treating us like lesser. But our father Anam created us all. Despite what the storm and cloud giants would tell you, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. Arrogance of the cloud giants is what is their undoing, thinking that we would just activate these things that they gifted us. No. We are not so stupid. She pauses for a second as the skald goes, yes, but the small folk might not know how bad the cloud giants are or where these items came from. I think perhaps what this little one is asking is if these items were no longer kept safely in the vault and if they were distributed, would they do damage outside? Oh, yes, they could do great damage. Yes, it would be a shame if any had got out of the vault. Yes.
Okay.
I'm not here to tell you what to do or anything, but if maybe it would be possible to do that tunneling on maybe the quicker side with the architects and maybe see what else might be missing from the vault. I mean, if this has gotten out, who knows what else could be out there.
She nods and looks towards some of the warriors who are currently digging into food. She lets out a very low whistle. Sorry, Drengia, you're on tunneling duty today. And as they start to complain, she goes, I do not want to hear it. The small folk raise a very good point. Once again, we are cleaning up cloud giant messes. Go, put down your meats. It will be here when you get back. You will help the others dig, no? As they begin to complain again, she goes, do not complain to me. I care not. Take this to the cloud giants if you really want to raise a stink about it, okay? Go, out of the hall. Shovels, the back gates. Go. As she begins gesturing them, as the warriors begin standing up and grumbling to each other.
I think Threign would probably find himself just automatically just falling in behind the warriors.
As you get to the door, one of the other warriors begins handing out enormous shovels and picks, and as you get to the door, he looks down, goes to hand you, and goes, "I do not think you can carry this little one."
Oh, that sounds like a challenge. I would love to try.
All right, then, both hands out, knees partly bent, and keep your back straight.
Let's do it. I'm gonna try and grab.
He leans down and hands you
I love that
a
no one from the party's like, Threign, where you go?
13-foot. To be fair, Jarl Gunglot's pretty big and takes up almost your field of vision. It's probably
True.
fair.
All right, let's go. Let's do it.
I'm going to need you to make me an athletics check, Threign, as he hands you a 15-foot high spade.
Actually,
It's
there
actually-
is something that
it's
might
like a
be
tree
helping me
trunk.
here.
Yeah.
I do have the racial thing for Little Giant.
That lets you hold larger, you can carry larger items, I believe, as if they were...
So, yeah,
For the purposes
I'll just
of-
do that. That might help.
Yeah, you count as one size larger when
holding
determining your
that
carrying capacity and the weight you can push, drag, or lift. Yes, it does. It lowers
Yeah,
the DC slightly
so-
for you. Definitely.
I got a 14.
14.
Don't know if that's enough.
As this giant places the enormous paxel, I'm going to call it a pickaxe shovel, into your hand, the double-ended paxel, your knees buckle under the weight, and for a moment, Threign, you feel like you're going to drop this, or it's going to crush you underneath it. There's a pop from one of your hips as you slowly begin to lower, but right as it's about to hit the ground, you finally manage to get a better grip and a better position, and you slowly begin to lift this thing up back to chest height. The hill giant looks down at you, nods, and goes, "Very good, very good. But you're not going to be cutting. You're not going to be cutting stone with that."
What? No, I'll see you all later. By all means, I will catch up with you all.
Don't be ridiculous. You are guests. Guests do not dig tunnel. Maybe latrine later, hey? As he bends down and takes the paxel off you.
I'm dejected. I walk back to the party.
Leaving so soon, Threign?
Oh, what? Sorry, I get a bit excited. I get caught up in things.
I must say, it is rather nice to see you so at home here. This must be quite a remarkable experience for you, actually.
Oh no, very much. I normally a bit more louder and a bit more upfront. It's nice to be sort of around and just almost, and sort of looks around a bit sheepishly, like I'm with my own people, so it's very nice.
Indeed.
While
I
you
sort
have
of miss. Oh.
No. I was going to say, you guys go.
I just say, yes, actually. Now that you mention it, it's been a while since I've been around my kind. Yeah, it's been a long time. I haven't really even.
What do you mean? In Forest, there's so many birds. Do not feel at home.
Oh. No.
Hey, actually, look. The thing with that question, that's not him being sarcastic.
No,
Actually, that. That's the thing. You probably can understand. You probably get that. He's not being sarcastic.
No, at this point, I mean, we've already known each other technically like a day, but like at this point, Niles is like kind of aware, and he kind of like lets out a little laugh and goes, well, no, I am at home in the forest. That is not a lie. But no, my own people, my own kind, my own Owlin folk. It's been a while since I've been back home, so. Yes, I haven't really had a chance to think about that. I was so caught up with this adventure, I never.
Where do you hail from, my bird friend?
I hail from just outside Oxenfurt, about a 2 days walk. Just in the hills there.
Oh well, perfect. We shall go and see your home soon, I guess, eh? Make you feel better. Why not?
Oh, I mean,
if we're in the area, let's go.
If we are there, that would be nice. But I think there are some. Oh.
I mean, we could go now if you like.
We have allotted our place now, Threign.
I think it is in both our
sorry.
interests.
I'm
If
getting
right now
ahead of
you go and
myself
talk to
again.
Mola and we go and deal with this problem with the vault.
Yes.
What do you think?
There's more pressing matters. I apologize. Like I said, get a bit ahead of
it is
myself.
good to see. I reward initiative in my Drangia, those who can show initiative. But remember to complete one task at a time, no?
Yes, that sounds good. Thank you so much. I apologize greatly.
If you had any other questions, now is the time to ask them. Otherwise, I will go and see if I can send words to Sinmare and attempt to find out what other items may have got lost.
That was actually my question. I was going to ask you what your status was with Sinmare.
She is not responding. I have requested aid from the Storm Giants twice with this civil war that is going on amongst the Hill Giants. I've had nothing back.
That leads me to my second point. This may be of some benefit to you. The giant technology, the technology that you seem to have not relied on, and in some ways rightfully so. That may be. That may have come at a bit of a benefit to you. We have heard that there are some malfunctions with the technology since the giants have returned.
Ha! This is what we have said for generations! And you watch as she gets very excited.
Yeah.
If people are fallible, their creations are going to be just as fallible at the best case scenario, if not more fallible. No? That just is common sense. Why do other giants not get this? Ah.
Indeed.
Well.
I just think it is worth knowing.
Yes.
It may have come back to you as a great boon.
It already has many times in the past. It is good to hear that once again it is working in our favor. That is very good to hear. Although, given that you have pieces of giant technology implanted into your flesh, perhaps this is not so much good news for you, no?
We'd do that one too.
Niles just laughs.
No, this is great honor. This is nothing to be ashamed of, everyone. And pointing to the stone. I have had a completely different experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Than these guys.
Just one quick question just before we go, just to make sure that I'm on the right path. So we're going to the swamps to go talk to Moldova, who is being bound by a Barrowghast, or she has been turned into a Barrowghast?
We're going to take out the curse where the Barrowghasts come from.
It's not where Moldova is.
Location is one and same. The Barrowghast was bound. The Nithing was placed upon the land where Mola sleeps, where she resides. She is unable to leave that location or go too far from it. We will take you by longship.
But she herself is not a Barrowghast, right? Like, if we attack the Barrowghast, we won't be inadvertently attacking her.
She sort of shrugs a bit. Things could have changed since I was last here. I hear it has been many years since we were here. But I do not think she is a Barrowghast. The curse was not to make her undead, just to trap her there with one.
That's a rather... Yeah, now that I think about that, that's a rather nasty existence to be spending all your time with an undead, huh?
Yeah, total bastard.
So what you're saying is this sounds like a challenge.
This is a challenge.
All waiting for?
Only a worthy Drengir could overcome such a thing, to break a Nithing, a particularly strong one. That is a thing that many of my noble Drengir would volunteer for in a heartbeat. I'm sure you will do.
I will prove my worth. Don't you worry about that.
As she looks over again, she sort of pauses. She looks at Ember. Firbolg, I am sorry I have not given you the proper welcome. And she reaches down and from behind the throne produces a small sprig of holly, which she hands over towards you. Do you still carry this custom?
We sure do.
Ember, I mean, to be handed a small branch of leaves. That's, I mean, Firbolgs don't do that amongst each other or with other races, as far as you know. This is something new, as far as you're aware, or maybe something very old.
No, well, yeah. So no, this must be an ancient custom. We haven't done this, as far as I'm aware.
Ah, it is a shame. I always thought it was quite beautiful, handing over a piece of greenery which could be sprouted and grow into a new forest. It is good to see your people are still here. When we were banished and the Firbolgs were not with us, I must admit I was glad that you were there to still care for the lands, care for the natural world.
Oh no, we've done that quite well actually. So no, happy to. We're glad that we were left that task to take care of the lands. Can I actually ask though? You mentioned that the curse was placed on Morla because she was forced to fight an enemy. What was the enemy?
The Hill Giants. It was a battle over territory. This is before this is after the first unified clan, before the second unified clans. The Hill Giants have always been a chaotic group. Civil war, it seems, is inevitable amongst our people, or at least it is while we remain ignorant, ravenous savages. I've been trying to change that, with mixed success.
And now we have the same issue with your brothers fighting for control.
Yeah, not very happy about that.
Do they also have use for this material that Morla helped source for your father?
Yes, the black liquid, the fire oil. Yes, they do. All of our long-range cannons, our firecasters use it. You cannot see it now because we have buried most of the weapons under the hill, but this can turn into a fully functional battle station. if we are to go into combat. Giants do not just fight on the ground. We rain fire from above as well. We will need plenty of fuel if we are to launch.
Okay, good. And you don't think there's any chance, obviously you said that you've taken a more intellectual path than what your brothers have. Is there any chance that they've thought to also go and get this material?
Oh, I'm sure they will be trying their best to get it, but without Mola to help them, they will only find very small quantities. It is only with her help that my father and my grandfather before him were able to have so much in reserve, enough to last us while we were in the astral space. We still have some left, some small meager reserves. If it were not for my younger brother running off with most of them, we would have no need of bothering Mola. But given that he has a large portion, my older brother does not, he is going to be needing to find some himself. I doubt he will try and enlist the help of Mola, though. He is one who likes to do things by himself, not rely on others. It will be his downfall, I think, in this case.
Okay. Well, I look forward to meeting Mola.
It's interesting you ask about the fire oil. There is something different about you, Firbolg. Touch of the flame to you.
I do run a little warm.
Your people, they still care for and protect the natural spaces?
We do. We work the land, and when we come of age in my tribe, at least, we venture out to the other lands to see what we can learn and gather and come back to our lands to make it more fertile.
Good. I approve. It is good to wander and travel. Hill Giants have always known this better than any of the other clans. It is good to see in others. Well, my skald will take you via longship. I will send you with one of our fastest over to the edge of the bog. Be careful. It would be a shame to have to report back to your companions and your dragon rider friends that your bodies are lost in the swamp forever. It would be an awkward conversation.
Oh yes. I don't want to get lost in a bog either.
Try not to. Would Lyra know if Nostea already has oil extraction going on? No! Lyra, no. This, I mean, you know that there are some, like, oil lamps and natural oils are used, but deep sea oil? No. God, no. There's no discussion of this at all. No knowledge of it as far as you're aware, Lyra. This is very much new information. The idea that there's massive reserves of fuel under the ocean. You've never heard of that before.
Sweet. And I can't quite remember, have we already given the Jarl a business card?
No, you haven't.
I think Lyra sort of has a feel around, see if she's got one of Mira's cards still in her bag.
Yeah.
I would say you do.
And she's, if you do need to contact anyone because our bodies have gotten lost in the swamp, or you just want to contact someone from the guild, talk to Mira. I'm sorry, this is probably a little bit too small for you, but... Yeah,
she leans down and holds out her index finger, and you place the card upon it. It looks like a stamp. Like, probably be even smaller. It'd be like a... What would it be? It'd be like a... you know, like a hole punch? How it punches out those little holes in paper, and there's like a little circle left behind. It's like a tiny rectangular hole punch. As she takes it and looks... She breathes out, and you watch as it just disappears off. She goes, and as she tries to catch it, she sort of loses it in her hands, and she looks down across her robes and goes, I am so sorry. I will ask for Mira. We will get a message out to Mira.
The Tempest Adventuring Guild.
Tempest Adventuring Guild. Why do I know that name? And the skald leans over and whispers in her ear. Ah, you are the ones who brought us through the gate. You are the ones who freed us from the astral space. King Mion died helping you.
Not us specifically, but the same gathering of people?
You are of the same tribe, no? You are same clan. Am I using the right word? Same family.
But technically that is correct, yes. Yes,
you should have mentioned earlier. I would have not treated you in such a way when you first arrived.
Well, you know, we didn't want to let those that event we were just yes, you're right.
No,
we should have let that,
I will make it known. I will make it known amongst this fort that you are giant friends. I name thee, all of you, giant friends. You are guests of Jarl Ganglot. You're welcome here anytime. Our strength is your strength. It is the least I can do to repay you for helping us get through the rift. No, you are honored guests here. I will make it known throughout this fort. If there's anything you require, it will be provided. You are, for the moment, not on the menu. And she gives you a bit of a smile and a wink.
Harry stops, sweating profusely.
Oh, how sweaty are you? Is it like a puddle of sweat? Like,
Yeah, there's a puddle of sweat. Okay, they can't actually sweat.
I don't know if rabbits work.
Rabbits
He's
can't
panting.
sweat.
He's been shivering. He's just been shivering.
Oh yeah, you've been shivering.
So you're actually, do you know what
it's almost
happens?
like-
Harry's ears are engorged with blood because that's how they cool themselves down.
But also, you know how
My
you
ears
spot,
are
like,
very
rabbits?
swollen.
You know how you spot like rabbits and they just sort of get stuck in that like state
Yeah.
of, like it move. That's almost been
Yeah.
the entire time Harry's been here. He's just stuck in that spotlight like stance the entire time, just stunned.
Deer in the
He
headlights.
looks like he has minor traumatic brain injuries.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think Lyra has cured that though, but
Anymore,
yes.
he's being cured.
Yeah, Lyra has good. Yeah, good
But he
point.
looks like he has some right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the cranial contusions have been healed. You are no longer suffering from minor traumatic brain
Perfect.
injury.
Yeah. But he's shivering like he's not.
The Skald steps forward and bows. Please, follow me. I will lead you to my longboat. I will take you to the edge of the bog.
Perfect. Let's get going, hey? This shall be
Yes,
fun.
indeed. We shall be back
Adventure
before you know it.
time.
Good luck.
Is there anything
Yeah.
that Harry can pick up and use as a makeshift shield in the room? Like, I don't know. Would that be like a bottle cap for like one of the like
Yeah,
the
I'd
giants
say
or anything?
I'd say probably one of the. There's like a small cook pot, a cauldron lid.
hell
No,
yeah.
even that'd be too big.
Yeah, that'd be massive.
The lid of a stein. One of the steins there, the lid is broken off and is like hanging on the edge of the table. You could probably use that as a small shield. Otherwise, Harry, if you wanted to use a makeshift shield, I mean, there's fragments of wooden board that could be, like, I mean, even a bit of bark. I mean, as you walk down the long hall, many of the internal columns are trees with the bark still intact. These massive redwood trees. And as you reach up and pull off a fragment of bark off the columns, you could easily use this as a wood. The wood has been treated and stained and exposed to smoke for a very long time. It's become hardened and almost petrified.
Easy, yeah. And Harry like chews off some wooden bits so we can make a handle for it as well.
I mean, you'd have some leather straps in your pack, 100%, that like you could use
done.
to fashion a shield. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, you can add a normal shield. You can call it a bark shield if you like. An oaken shield. Harry Oaken Shield. That'd be fun. As the Skald leads you down outside of the longhouse and around the back half of the fort, you can see there are almost what look like docks set up, hanging out from the back of the next section down, the next tier down of the hill, down from the longhouse. This long section of docks with large, what look to be almost sailing boats, dragon head prows, long, tall masts with beautifully coloured and stained sails, and the boats are hovering in place. At the very centre at the helm, each one has a crystal with what look to be electrum wires moving down through the helm into the underside of the hull, where similar white crystals are embedded at 4 points at the front, 2 at the front, 2 at the back of the hull, allowing them to bob in place. You can see small swirls and gusts of wind moving underneath around these crystals as they channel the elemental plane of air. As the Skald leads you down the docks and onto one of the longships, this looks like a much smaller boat. If it was human-sized, it would probably be a very small fishing boat, maybe like a small schooner. But for the giants, this may as well be... Sorry, for you, this may as well be a man of war. It is enormous for you. And as you climb over the edge, the seats are far too large for you. In fact, the side of the boat comes up higher than your heads can see over the top of. As the skull takes to the rudder and casts off, he notices and looks and goes, would you like me to fetch you a box, or shall I describe to you what I see?
Nice.
Please.
Box. He leans down and pulls out what looks like a locker, a foot locker, filled with spears. And as he pulls it across the deck and shoves it up against the side, for you guys it's about 8 feet tall, but as you clamber onto it, you can now see over the side. As the longship rises up into the sky and begins moving over the forest, you can see a large river running along the edge of the forest, on the other side of which is a vast swampland. It looks like this is your destination, as the Skald immediately runs the boat towards it, changing his position and tack to move with the natural winds that are swirling around the upper reaches. The boat doesn't go too high, only about sort of 40-50 feet off the ground, staying within easy reach of the ground below and the trees below, giving you a perfect view of the land beneath. As you approach the edge of the bog, you can see that it is overgrown with vines and thickets. Where the water gets up a little bit deeper, the tree line breaks for patches of reflective water, dark and brown, but shining with the blue sky above when you hit that angle just right, looking down from above. In the very center of the bog, the Skald points out a region of islands, surrounded with small copses of trees, but everything seems blighted. The trees themselves are mostly dead. The water, this dark grey. The natural lush landscape giving way to this large region of almost decay in the very center of the bog. Not far from the edge of the river, only about a 3-hour walk, but much faster by a flying longship. As he gets closer to the edge of this blighted area, the longship begins to vibrate a little bit, and he quickly adjusts the tiller, moving it off towards the side before touching down on the surface of the water. Only, I'd say probably within eyeshot, maybe about an hour's walk tops from this blighted area. Well, this is as close as I can get you. You will have to walk the rest of the way from here. Oh, almost forgot. Hold still, all of you. This will come in handy. As he pulls forth the bagpipes, begins playing a low, mournful song. Around him, you watch as runes begin to slowly appear and fade out. And as he finishes the song, he reaches forward with his hands and plucks these runes from the sky, placing one on each of your chests. A surge of warmth rushes through you, followed by a sudden moment of comprehension. The birdsong around you changes from beautiful warbling song to speech in an instant. The frogs croaking in the distance suddenly become words that you can understand. There, you can speak the language of beasts now. I think that will help you with your conversation with Mola.
Thank you.
It is the least that I can do, giant friend.
So, in the Goliath dialect, at least, of the giant sort of stuff, I will give him like a goodbye, but like within that that language. I want to see if he actually picks it up.
So you say goodbye in giant?
Yeah. So, but like, because I know like me and Ember speak giant, but we have our own like Goliath dialects that have been sort of come across, like and obviously Firbolg. So it'd be interesting to see what actually,
yeah. As you say, I think it'd be hej då in Swedish. I think is goodbye.
Perfect.
Hej då. As you say that, a little smile touches his lips. I wondered how much of the old tongue you spoke.
It's a little bit different these days, I think. I don't know, like, I hopefully got it as much as I could.
Pojoten vobro?
Yeah, look, I don't know what that means personally.
Sorry. It seems that some of the language is still lost. Well, once you have sorted this out, perhaps there is some time you could spend, maybe with your frost giant kinno. They might be able to teach you things.
Oh, there'd be a lot of things I could learn from them. That'd be amazing. Can't wait.
He gives you all a nod. Good luck.
Perfect. All right, let's go, team. Let's go, huh? Who's excited? We're going to beat the curse, kill this bottle gas, whatever it is. We all ready to go? Come on! I jumped down into the bog.
It goes up to your knees instantly. Fetid, swampy water. The bird calls that you can hear around you switch to alarm, alarm, intruders, intruders, and the birds begin sort of flying away from the nearby trees as you drop into the swamp. The frog cries.
They know we might be here. This will be good.
The frog cries. You can hear. Look at me, look at me. I'm sexy. As the frogs begin. Because that's what frog calls, that's what they're for. I've been hoping that someone would cast Speak with Animals the whole of Tyranny of Dragons, and no one fucking did.
No one did.
We have Speak with Animals. That's why I was so confused for a sec. Okay, that makes so much more sense.
You can speak the language of beasts.
As the birds fly away, I look at Threign. As the birds fly away, and I'm like, oh, look, Threign, you scared all my friends away. I say it like very sarcastically.
Oh. Wait, so they are your family?
In a way.
Come back! I did not mean to give you dishonor. Please come back. I do it really loud and booming as it goes through. I do thaumaturgy actually at 3 times to gain their attention. The birds had just left, so I scream this.
As you scream it out, all wildlife within 2 kilometers of you takes flight. You watch as groups of birds suddenly rise up. A murder of crows rises from an area nearby, letting out this fucking loud as they take off and begin heading off.
I made sure to make sure that I was not threatening. I let them know I did not mean to bring dishonor. They're more than welcome to come back. Did it as loud as I could to grab their attention. Hopefully they'll come back soon.
Niles just laughs. He thinks this is hilarious.
Why do you laugh? I don't understand. I just. I thought I do a good thing.
No, you did well.
Perfect.
Yes, very good. I just sort of stretch my wings and hover up above the swamp. Shall we get on our way then?
I will wait for you here. You come back to meet me. No more than 3 hours, okay?
Good.
I will see you in 1.
I like you. You have giant spirits.
As we start getting ready, I put at my frost axe in front of me, and I start doing squats and stretches, and I'm doing a bunch of things, getting ready for the.
You said you jumped into the swamp water. As you do a squat, you wet your crotch with filthy swamp water.
Just dips it in.
Yeah.
Just a tip.
I don't know what to tell you.
I'm gonna play it off because I meant to do that.
Cool. The water is not too deep in this section, but as you move between, you can see that this is very much a bog. The tree line falls away quite quickly as you head inwards from where you are here, giving way to an area almost more like. I mean, the best way to describe it is kind of like the Dead Marshes in The Lord of the Rings. This sort of islands of land overrun and flooded with patches of deep water, sometimes deceptively deep, sometimes incredibly shallow. A few trees marking this inner section. The outer section of the bog is much more forest-like, more like a mangrove. But as you head closer in towards the Blight, nothing large grows. Heading on a little bit further, you pass a rather large serpent moving between thickets of grasses and water. As you approach, it dives down under the water, its beady eyes looking up from deep below. Roughly about the length of probably about 2 to 3 meters long, this large constrictor-looking snake drops into the water, its eyes looking up from underneath as you walk past. As you get closer, though, signs of animal life become far more scarce. Even the insects fall away after a time, until you reach what is clearly the border of the blight. A large section of decaying, rotten bushes, algae covering the surface that has turned into this dark, black-grey sludge. What I'd like to know is your marching order and how are you managing to get through this swamp with minimal problems?
So,
Yeah.
I think I'll be at the front.
Yep.
So,
I might get a survival check from you then, Threign, if you're going to be leading the party.
Did
Cool.
you say there were trees in the swamp?
Some
that's
trees,
good.
yeah, a
That's good
few
roll.
trees. Not very many. Like loads further out, but not so much further in.
18 for survival.
Perfect. What were you thinking, Harry?
So there's nowhere for Harry to like hide and like be in flank with the party, but like nearby and
Not
kind
easily.
of scout out. Yeah, okay.
Not very easily. Like there is. I'll get you to do a survival check separately to the others if you want to try and keep a bit back from them and make your own pathway. But if you're not following Threign, you're risking falling into.
Okay. Harry will follow, but he'll duck down to make himself small.
Look, if you want, it depends. I know you probably don't want to be seen per se, but by all means, jump on my back. You can be sentry if you wish. Talking to Harry.
Harry hops on.
Perfect.
Nice. Niles is probably just flying, sort of like just hovering above the swamp, but like occasionally like landing on a the odd tree here and there, and then just
Yeah.
sort of moving along.
Oh wow, Crassus is in the swamp.
Oh yeah.
Is he? Oops.
How
Hilarious.
did he get here?
No, it says
Oh,
Threign
sorry, I
on
was-
the token.
I
Don't
was
worry about
reading. I can see the
It's
token.
It says Threign.
Oh, I was reading my book. Sorry, I'm actually here. Whoops.
No. It says Threign, so ignore it. Quiet you. As you get closer, sorry, yeah, actually, I was going to ask, is anyone else doing anything to help along with this journey through the swamp? So Threign's,
Yeah.
yes.
So I'll be leading the way, and look, I'm all about blunt force too. So I'll be pushing things out the way. I'll be making a path. That's probably what I'll be doing at least.
Yeah, I'd probably be I'm pretty tanky as well, so I'd probably be either. I'd say I'd be taking up the rear.
You know what you could also be doing? If you're flying, you're our eyes.
Yeah.
You can see things that we cannot see
That's
and
true.
perceive.
Yeah.
You can see potential depths. You can see maybe potential tar pits or pits that we like.
Well, I mean, I think
traps that we
Harry-
can't see.
Harry's probably doing that as well, but yeah, I'd be.
True.
Well, do you have dark vision?
I do. Yeah,
How dark is it in the swamp?
it's a good point actually.
It's not that dark. I mean, it's not got its own separate weather pattern from what you can see.
Oh, okay.
But I will add
Yeah.
that even though the clouds are not too tight and there's still plenty of sunlight coming through, that moment when you step over the edge of the blight, the sun just feels less warm. There feels like it feels lesser as you step across.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
Harry
Yeah.
says on high alert on Threign's shoulder.
Yeah, I imagine Harry's probably keeping an eye on the front, and I'm probably keeping an eye on the back.
Yeah.
And kind of hovering above.
I'll get you both to roll me perception checks in that case.
Sure.
Oh, that's good.
Alrighty. And then we'll deal with your survival check too. So 12 from Harry, 21 from Niles. Holy shit.
Nice.
Harry, from behind, all you can see as you look out the back of the party is the way that you've come. Oh no, sorry, you were looking at the front, were you? No, you were looking behind. No, you were looking at the
I'm
front.
looking at
Harry's at the
I'm
front,
in
I'm at
front.
the back.
Yeah.
Harry's at the front.
I'm
That's
on
a,
Threign's shoulder.
yeah,
Because
I mean,
Harry's on Threighn's shoulder. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. I mean, the way in front is hard to make anything out, Harry. The pathway is very hard to determine because there are sections of water covered in dense algae that almost looks like a section of grass or a section of land. And then as Threign goes to step in it, his foot plunges into a much deeper channel of water than he was expecting, causing you to sort of like buckle forwards and lose your grip for a few seconds before
Just a bit of fun. Don't worry about it.
before regaining your composure. The way back, Niles, you get a really clear look. The moment when you step across into this new blighted area, Yeah, there's a sense of unease that comes across you. This land seems unwelcome, whereas before moving through it, it just felt like a wilderness area. There's a sense here, a presence, almost a sound that you can hear, like a low vibration in the air that sets your beak on edge and ruffles your feathers as you fly high above. As you happen to glance forward, Niles, you can see in the very center of this blighted area is a large island, rising above the fetid swamp water with a few ruined trees atop it. In the very center is a stone obelisk, roughly about 8 feet tall, but covered in dark slime. As you all begin to approach Threign with an 18, giving him a pretty good opportunity to avoid leading you into some of the more dangerous sections of the swamp. As you approach the small island and step up onto it, you can see the obelisk has been aged and weathered by exposure. The surface probably was once polished and smooth. In fact, there may have even been text upon its surface, but years of being left out with the sun and the wind and the rain have eroded it away. This looks ancient and old as you stare across the surface. Niles, I will use your perception for this. Your perception of 21, you can just faintly make out what was once a carving that resembles a large domed shell right in the very center of the obelisk.
I think that might be what Gunlocked was referring to, the kniving, the curse, perhaps. I think that might be it there.
Rain, can you still do that loud voice thing? I mean, could you
Of
maybe
course.
try
I
calling
can
out
always
to
do that.
Morla, or just be like, "Hey, we are friends here to save you. Please do not attack us."
Perfect. I will say exactly as you said. At the top of my lungs at 3 times, my voice booms throughout the
Holy
land.
shit.
Exactly what Lyra just said.
Oh my.
Great.
I copied.
As you do this, I'm actually going to get a nature check from Ember. As a druid, I am going to get a nature check from you. There is something here that you may notice passively, so I will get a nature check from you. Just to
Harry
see.
also just got the biggest fright of his life. His ear was right next to
Oh my
like,
god, it's so
Rain's
true.
mouth.
Oh yeah.
More brain damage for you, buddy.
12, Ember. Yeah. Ember, you'd not heard of the word kniving before. That's not something you're familiar with. But the land definitely seems to have been damaged in some way. There's a sense of something wrong here. The blight that was referred to, you think you've seen something similar a long time ago. After the ruin,
Okay.
but well before your birth and before your druid circle and enclave started experimenting with fire. There was a druid circle that of Firbolgs who attempted to control decay and the natural decomposition of the wilds. No one's really sure exactly what happened, but the decay from that point where the very center of their enclave where they were experimenting spread and could not be stopped, almost moving like a virus or an infection across the land. In fact, Ember, you know that the very first wildfire druids tapped into fire magic to control and destroy that same spread. That's where the origin of the fire druids comes from. The wildfire druids was to sometimes you need to destroy to protect and to save the natural order of things. You're not quite sure what this blight was, having never experienced it yourself, but the stories of it and how it's described to you, it lines up way too well with where you're standing right now. Might not be the exact same location. You know that location was destroyed by a fire, excuse me, and is now an ashen scar where nothing grows at the very center of that druid grove. The land around it healing once the grove had been destroyed with fire. But that blight, And that description of it, I mean, you were told stories of this from your earliest days as a fire druid. There's something in your mind that makes that connection with a 12. This just seems too similar. As Threign... Oh yeah, sorry, Simon.
No, I was just thinking, because I would have been, I mean, going through the area, we were discussing where people were standing. I don't think I would have been too far in. I think I would have been quite distressed while walking in, seeing so much death of plant life and everything. So is there any, so are we talking about there's essentially no plant life where we are now?
There's plant life. There's algae, there's bushes, there's shrubs, there's water weeds growing underneath, all sorts of overgrown vines, but they seem sickly, Ember, almost like they're struggling to survive, when around them outside of this zone, the rest of the swamp is thriving. I mean, you see a thriving ecosystem outside of here, but as you step across, there's no insects. There's no vertebrates, there's no fish, there's no birds. The only living things within this circle appear to be the plants, and they are not doing well. They seem sickly. And, I mean, to your eyes, the one that probably stands out the most is the algae has turned into some sort of slime mold that is covering almost every surface with this dark green-grey layer of slime. You know it's growing, but it seems wrong. This whole area seems wrong. Lyra, do you want to say what you've just typed out loud?
I think if she's sort of probably heading towards sort of the back of the party, I mean, the other guys, they've all got this. She's like, this really good mushroom sort of location. So she's probably just like a little flower girl at a wedding just with mushroom spores.
So the druids are having vastly different experiences.
Well, Lyra, this does not stay subtle for long. The first patch of spores that you throw out as you enter this area grow explosively, feeding on the necrotic energy infusing the soil. You watch as the mycelium spreads, fungi sprouting from the earth around you, and choking the weeds and choking the grasses in a thick layer of mycelium. The fungi pulse ominously with these dark grey veins moving through them where the mycelium has drawn the necrotic energy. Something is very wrong here. I'm going to say that Ember sees you do this, given that Ember's deliberately looking around, getting stock of the lay of the land.
Not to mention he's going a bit slower too.
So I literally just described Ember slowing down a bit, being a bit more reticent to just charge on in. Ember, you watch as this druid, who I would say at this point has demonstrated a love of fungi that is probably beyond the realms of what you would consider normal and sane, just flings a whole bunch of spores into an area charged with clearly necrotic energy and is surprised when they seem to grow ominously and quickly in front of you. Lyra and Ember, you immediately recognize the mushrooms growing from this. These are death caps sprouting. Whatever spores that you were using before.
It's Leon Gather all over again.
Oh no!
The mushrooms sprout and take on this sickly white-grey appearance.
Oh man.
Death cap spores.
I think that's what death caps look like. They're like a grey-white colour, aren't they? Yeah, grey-white.
My lord. They're
Also,
actually apparently the mushrooms that killed the people at that
Yeah, they are.
place.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, they are.
So safe to handle, just not safe to eat.
Yes. Well, the thing is, they look very similar to like your standard portobello mushrooms, and that's part of the problem, right?
Yep.
So,
So
for anyone,
I recognise
You go.
that it's poisonous, because I'd like to, if I see it grow so quickly, I'd probably go over and try and grab one.
Yeah.
Depending on how.
I will say, for anyone at home wondering how you can identify a death cap versus a portobello, portobellos have dark grey ridges underneath the cap of the mushroom. Death caps do not. So if it's got the dark grey ridges, don't eat it. Don't fucking eat wild mushrooms. You don't know what they are. If you're relying on me for information, you're an idiot. But if you wanted to quickly identify them for a fantasy world, that is how you know the difference.
If you were to forage for mushrooms, I think there's like mushroom like identify apps and stuff, and definitely put it up.
Don't even trust the apps.
Stuff.
Just know what you're doing.
Yeah, know what you're doing. I would say that we live in a society where you can purchase things that you want to eat. You don't need to forage. Why
Oh,
risk
me
it?
and we go foraging all the time. We get these really cool mushrooms. They're pine mushrooms. And we eat them.
But you know what you're doing.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I've done it since with my grandfather.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
my point. If you don't know
10
how to
15
identify
years.
them, don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ember, as you
That's
walk on over and poke at the mushrooms, immediately as you push against it, the side of the mycelium wall, which should be strong, the chitin inside the mushroom should give it strength and rigidity. As you push against it, the cap begins to deflate into sludge, this dark black sludge that moves down, and you have to sort of flick it off your fingers as you see these mushrooms slowly succumbing to the same decay. After growing really rapidly and looking really healthy, you realize very quickly that they're not as healthy as they first looked. These mushrooms are feeding on the decay, but it's feeding on them as well.
Wow.
I was hoping that they would just kind of sort of spread around, eat up a lot of the decay, sort of start the ecosystem over again, but I guess this death must be in the air.
This whole place is cursed, I feel. There's something uneasy about it. It's hard to describe.
All right, we've delayed long enough. We'll jump back to Threign's shout. As
Perfect.
Threign
yes.
stands upon the island and screams out. What do you scream out specifically? I think you said
it's what,
Mauler.
That's what Ellie, because Ellie told me to say it. Like Lyra
Yeah.
told me to say it, so I just
Oh,
copied
yeah.
that. So
Mauler,
I think it
we're here to save you. We are friends. Please don't attack us.
Perfect.
Yep. that, but at 3 times volume, my max volume, 3 times that.
For a moment,
Because, yeah.
there's nothing but silence and the echo of this almighty shout bouncing back off the trees in the far distance, muted and warped by the distance. And then a shudder runs through the land, a ripple moving out from the center of the island. And then another. And then you watch as in front of you, a section of island begins to shudder and shake, the water streaming away as it rises up before you. An enormous shell that you mistook for a patch of rocky land emerges. Easily 30, 40 feet. Just the tip of the shell rising above as it begins to push away the land, crumbling underneath. And then off towards your right, an explosion of mud and soil and water as an enormous clawed foot rises up and slams down back into the earth, a wave of water shooting up and splashing your feet. And then another, and another, and another. Suddenly, the island underneath your feet begins to rumble and cracks down the middle before opening up the section of land where you're standing, falling away, causing you to stumble backwards in alarm as a huge head rises free. Long and sinuous, like a tortoise, covered in plates of what looks to be a very hard scale, shell-like material. The water and mud, choked with weeds and vines, grappled through. You can see roots have embedded themselves along the ridges of this plated head. As the head turns and shakes slowly free, sending this debris showering down onto you below. One enormous eye slowly opens and looks down at you. And as the head turns to get you into view, these massive eyes fill the field of vision. You hear a voice. Who are you to wake me from my slumber? You look like barely more than a mouthful.
Ah, lovely to meet you. My name is Threign. We have been sent here from Jarl. What's it?
Gunlot.
That's the one. Yes, that. We've been sent here to help with the curse. We're here to break it.
It's the new generation of hill giants. They feel bad about what their predecessors did.
You all talk too fast. Slow down. We cannot understand you. Always in such a rush. And the turtle sneezes, sending a gout of mucus slamming into a nearby tree, covering it in this layer of slime.
Oh.
Ooh, that's a good crack of thunder. Did the microphone pick that up?
Damn, that is really good.
Yeah, wow.
Holy shit.
I love how
that?
I love how the turtle dragon does a big old sneeze.
Sneeze.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Wow.
As the dragon turtle looks down at all of you. You said something about the curse. You mean the kniving.
That is correct.
Yes. We've been sent here to kill the Battlegeist. I'm not going slow. It's not really Threign. He doesn't really catch on.
Niles tries to go slow for the big turtle.
You will try, and I will watch you die.
That is a challenge. I accept it. We won't die. Well, I won't at least. Can't speak for these. I just met them only a day ago.
Oh, I
Not
wouldn't
even.
say that, though. Don't you worry. I feel quite
You can't help it.
I
it'd be dishonorable to
cannot
ask him for help.
help against these things. They bind me here. I have tried biting. I have tried clawing, stomping, hacking, slashing, crushing. Nothing kills them. I just want to die now.
Oh. No, you still have such more to offer this world.
Well, I will watch you die first.
Many have tried.
You said
Give
that
it a
there
shot.
were you said that there were more than one Barrowgast? Was it how many are there that bind you here?
There is one Barrowgast, two mud creatures that do its bidding. It will come soon. The smell of your fresh blood will call it.
Oh.
I think with that, Lyra brings out the symbiote and Shillelagh, just with imminent battle.
Harry hides in the tree.
To
Any
hasten
other
hasten it and give it a precise location, I'm going to prick my finger.
Ooh, very nice.
I just look back at the turtle. I look back at the turtle and say, any other words of wisdom? Oh, great one. As I take up a defensive
I
position.
miss fruit. Before you die, do you have any fruit in your packs? I have had to eat the sludge and roots for far too long.
Would Niles realistically have any dried fruits, perhaps?
Probably.
From, like, a
I'm just
ration
thinking
pack or
Niles.
something?
Niles probably would. Although you are an owl. so-
Harry does. Harry's hiding in the tree, but you just feel a pouch hit you from the side. Harry's just throwing the pouch
with some
in the water.
apples and
Yeah.
apricots in it.
You
Yeah.
throw it at me to give to him?
Yeah. But you don't see Harry. You just see-
I just think it and it appears. It just comes to me. Whoa! Wow!
I have become an applemancer. I may summon fruit to me in times of need.
An apple mancer. I love that.
As the bag of
Doctor's
fruit hits
enemy.
you, Mauler sort of sniffs. Oh, you do have fruit. Give it to us before you die, and the Barrowgast consumes you. And she opens her enormous maw. You can see that slime cakes the internal beak covering sections of her internal areas as well as her tongue.
I just say, well, if what you say is true and we are all going to die to these creatures, we can't let this good fruit go to waste, then, can we? I kind of look around to see who threw it at me. And
Can't see Harry. Harry's gone.
Yeah, I'm like, I just shrug and I throw the fruit into its mouth.
Perfect. As the fruit lands on her mouth, she slams her jaws shut like a clam. Oh, I had missed the sweet taste of... and sneezes again as an enormous glob of mucus slams into another tree, barely missing you, Niles.
You see Harry fall out from the tree he's hiding in, and
Covered in mucus.
Actually, it probably would be that tree too. Actually,
Yeah, there's so many other trees. Oh god.
Do you have any youths with you?
Any what?
Youths.
Like young people?
Yes, less than 100 years old.
Oh, I think I look around and I'm like, I think we're all.
well, I'm
Body age or
31,
soul
so-
age?
That explains the... Slams down into the water this time.
Oh god.
I don't like young things. They make my nose and throat and ears itch.
Oh.
It's
By
not
that
all the
logic-
slime in the swamp?
Oh, the Barrowgast has come. Goodbye, younglings. Thank you for the fruit. And as Morla lays her head down on the edge of the water, you hear this from behind you. And as you turn, rising up through the swamp, you see an enormous, flabby form.
Whoa, that's cool.
Oh, what is that?
I was
An
not anticipating
enormous,
that thing.
giant-like
Oh, God.
form, covered in decaying flesh. A large open wound cutting it from shoulder to navel across the very center. Its heart beating in place, the ribs partially exposed. You can see this black Icarus blood leaking from in between this open wound. As it rises up, easily as tall as a hill giant, the creature turns and shambles in your direction.
Oh
And
my.
that is where we're going to wrap up for tonight.
Yes, looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. For those of you who are loving Morla and have figured out the reference, Morla was a chat-summoned NPC, summoned by Malo Gallo Talotim. I hope I got that right. Malo Gallo Talotim. I did! Summoned by Malo Gallo Talotim, a reference to the Neverending Story, Morla from the Neverending Story. Really, really cool NPC. Thank you so much, Malo Gallo Talotim, for summoning that creature. This was the perfect time to introduce it as part of the story, and I have used the dragon turtle stat block. Because why not, hey? Awesome. If you are watching us live, don't go anywhere. We're going to go raid one of these other lovely channels that we often go raid on a Wednesday night. I think it looks like... Oh, doesn't look like any of our...
Before you rate, we have a question in chat about how
Oh,
we
we have a question from
summon
chat. How do we
NPCs.
summon NPCs? That's a good question. You can use your channel points. For those of you watching live, you will be accruing channel points. If you click down the bottom, it's called Inspiration. You can use it to do normal Twitch stuff like highlight a message or choose an emote. You can also use it to do really cool things like give disadvantage or give advantage to the players or to me, to create an NPC, or to summon a creature, a monster that people can, that these guys can fight. If I'm playing a video game, you can also use it to put me in a challenge mode where I have to abide by the rules of a challenge that you come up with. So if there's ever any time you're watching us live, you can do really cool things like that. hope that
So I
answers
can
the
just give
question.
myself advantage, right, Owen?
No, because you are playing in this
No.
campaign, and if you are one of the players, you
Otherwise-
cannot spend it on yourself. But you can spend it on other campaigns that you're not a part of.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have 85,000 points.
That's fair. There is also a new one coming soon called Wild Magic Surge that you can spend to trigger a Wild Magic Surge. I have a D100 Wild Magic Surge table. I am just finishing up the final touches to it. You can put it there. Can the DM spend channel points? The DM doesn't really need to spend channel points. Like, being the DM is like having infinite channel points that I can spend
Yeah,
whenever I
no, I
want
do.
anyway. So
I feel like you need to spend them to make an NPC.
I need to spend them to make an
Then-
NPC. Okay, well
yeah.
that's okay because as the host of the Lost Archives, I also have infinite inspiration, so that's easy. I literally on Twitch have like an infinity symbol next to the channel points
Oh,
button.
wow, nice.
So
Oh, wow.
easy
That's
peasy.
cool.
So I guess technically yes, I am spending channel points every time I do this stuff.
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure running a session once again. Thank you so much. We will see you all again really, really soon. But until then, stay safe, stay well, and see you all again next time. Goodbye, everybody. Bye.
See you, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.